Imagine walking into a room where every person silently holds up a scorecard the second they see your face. You would feel your shoulders tighten before anyone even spoke, and that tension is exactly what rate me culture has normalized on our phones. Run a simple experiment right now by opening your camera, holding a neutral expression, and asking yourself whether you're looking for connection or a grade. If you feel a tiny urge to hunt for flaws, you are already inside the scoreboard mindset, and that mindset spills into confidence, dating, friendships, study focus, and even how kindly you speak to yourself after a normal day. You will see why chasing face ratings often makes people feel worse, what the evidence says about attractiveness judgments, and what to do instead if you still want to improve your appearance. Think of this whole topic as a scoreboard in a gym, because the board can track effort, but it should never become your identity. Picture a teenager posting one selfie and refreshing comments during dinner. One person says stunning, another says average, another says fix your nose, and suddenly that single photo feels like a court verdict. The brutal part is not only the insults, because praise can trap you too when your mood depends on whether tonight's score rises or falls. Research on social comparison and appearance-based feedback suggests repeated ranking cues increase body surveillance, which means people start monitoring themselves from the outside like a camera instead of living from the inside like a person. When that happens, normal human moments feel like performance reviews, and you stop asking how you feel and start asking how you look while feeling it. A lot of people defend ratings by saying they are just data. That sounds rational until you inspect what is actually being measured. Attractiveness judgments are real, but they are context-dependent, culture-shaped, and highly sensitive to lighting, angle, expression, grooming, and viewer bias in that exact moment. Controlled studies do find patterns people tend to prefer on average, yet those patterns are broad trends, not destiny for one face in one life. A score in a comment thread is less like a lab result and more like weather on one street corner at 1 minute. If you confuse weather for climate, you make long-term decisions using short-term noise. That confusion is the engine of rate me culture. Run another simple check by pulling up two photos of yourself, one taken in soft window light and one taken under harsh overhead light. Most people see a dramatic difference and feel two different stories about the same face, which should tell you how unstable a single rating really is. Evidence from perception research shows observers make fast trait judgments from faces, but those judgments shift when tiny visual cues shift. The scoreboard pretends to be objective while quietly moving the goalposts every second, so it acts less like accountability and more like roulette with your self-worth. The deeper problem is that ratings train attention toward deficits. Suppose someone gets a mid-score and a list of suggested fixes. Even if half the comments are thoughtful, the brain gives extra weight to threat, and criticism lands louder than nuance. Cognitive research on negativity bias and social rejection sensitivity helps explain why one harsh line can replay in your mind for days. Because humans are wired to remember danger, and rating spaces frame social exclusion as feedback. Let me tell you about Omar, a pre-med student who started posting to rating forums because he wanted confidence before interviews. At first, he treated it like a project and tracked comments in a notes app. Within weeks, his mornings began with mirror checks, his study blocks broke apart, and he kept canceling plans when his skin looked irritated under bathroom lights. He did not become more disciplined, he became more preoccupied. The turning point came when a friend asked whether his goal was to look perfect to strangers or feel grounded in real conversations. He deleted the rating apps, kept a simple grooming routine, and put the same energy into sleep, posture, and speaking practice. A month later, he still cared about appearance, but the scoreboard was no longer running his day because his relationship to his face had changed. Some people will ask a fair question, which is whether harmful ratings mean we should ignore appearance completely. Appearance matters in social life, and pretending otherwise is not honest. The better move is to replace anonymous scoring with skill-based feedback tied to your own goals. Instead of asking strangers to rank your face, ask trusted people whether you look approachable in this photo, whether the haircut suits your vibe, or whether this outfit matches the setting, because a number is a verdict while a specific suggestion is a tool. The scoreboard metaphor helps separate useful from useless feedback. Useful feedback is like a coach saying, keep your elbow higher on the shot, while useless feedback is the crowd yelling, you are trash after one miss. One improves behavior and the other attacks identity, so if your feedback channel mostly attacks identity, the channel is the problem, not your face. There is also a myth that objective beauty scales can fully predict life outcomes. Large studies on social outcomes do show appearance can influence first impressions, but long-term attraction and respect depend heavily on warmth, competence, humor, reliability, and shared values. People do not date a still image. They date a moving person with voice, timing, energy, and emotional safety. Rate Me culture freezes you into a passport photo and calls that truth, even though it is only a thin slice of reality. Use one more interactive reset today by shifting your attention in the next conversation from how your face is being judged to how the other person feels in your presence. Notice their pace? Ask one better question and hold eye contact a beat longer with a relaxed brow. Most people find that social connection improves immediately, and confidence rises because confidence grows from contribution more than from comparison, which puts appearance in its proper place instead of denying it. So, what should you do if you still want to level up your looks without feeding the scoreboard? Start with health anchors that reliably improve how you appear and how you feel, like consistent sleep, resistance training, daily walking, hydration, and stress control. Add grooming basics that create clarity like skincare, suited to your skin type, haircut maintenance, brow cleanup if needed, and clothes that fit your body rather than trends. Then use photos as tools, not judges. Take shots in honest lighting, compare against your own baseline, and adjust one variable at a time. Improvement becomes a craft instead of a courtroom. You can also design your digital environment so it stops training your brain toward constant ranking by muting accounts that frame people as numbers and following creators who teach practical style, communication, and health without humiliation. Keep a short note on your phone with non-appearance wins from each week, like handled conflict calmly, spoke clearly in class, or showed up when tired, because that note protects perspective when the scoreboard voice gets loud. One final nuance matters because some people seek ratings when they carry old wounds and want certainty that they are acceptable. If that is you, the urge makes sense. The problem is that anonymous scoring can never give secure acceptance because the crowd is inconsistent by design. Healing usually comes from relationships where you are known over time, not judged in a single frame. And that can include friends, mentors, partners, and sometimes therapy when self-image pain runs deep. Return to the opening image of that room full of silent scorecards. You now have a better option than performing for every card in the air. Keep the scoreboard for specific skills and throw it out for human worth. Ask for contextual feedback from people you trust. Build appearance habits that serve your life and measure progress by how steadily you show up in real moments. Rate Me culture promises certainty and sells anxiety, while a grounded approach gives you agency. When the scoreboard stops defining you, your face stops feeling like a problem to solve and starts feeling like a person to live from.